Hello and welcome to Sangram's IAS. I am Rishabh and today we will be talking about the learning theory of attitude formation. As we discussed in our previous video, attitude is the psychological tendency that is expressed after evaluating a particular object, idea or person with a degree of favor or disfavor. Now, how are these attitudes formed? We learned that attitudes are composed of cognitive, affective and behavioral components. We also learned that attitudes are either positive or negative. One important aspect of attitude is also that attitude is either implicit or explicit. This idea of whether an attitude is implicit or explicit is fairly simple. An implicit attitude is an attitude that you have without expressing it overtly, which means that sometimes there are some attitudes in you, there are some attitudes that you may have from your childhood, from your school, from your early formative years, which attitudes you do not even know you have. And so they come out in your behavior in such a way that you are unaware of them. And there are explicit attitudes which you know exactly what your attitude towards something is. You have thought about it, you have a proper laid out argument for why you have such and such attitude towards some things. So this is the difference between implicit and explicit attitude. Implicit attitudes can be made explicit attitudes by identifying your implicit attitudes. You will be able to think about why you have such an attitude, why you think that something is favorable or disfavorable, and then when you have thought about it, you have argued about it, at that point your implicit attitude becomes your explicit attitude. Now, why did I tell you this? I told you this because when we talk of the learning theory of attitude formation, we are actually talking about both implicit and explicit attitudes. However, some attitudes, especially according to the learning theory of attitude formation, we see that they are mostly created in such a way, either willfully or by accident, through the pedagogues, through the people who are teaching you. A simple question that can be asked to you is whether attitude can be taught. Can you learn attitudes? Can you acquire new attitudes, or are attitudes always inherent in nature? In that question, you will write about the learning theory of attitude formation. The learning theory of attitude formation is a very interesting concept where the basic fundamentals of learning psychology or psychological learning comes into play. There are three methods which we will talk about. The first is the Pavlovian conditioning. Pavlovian conditioning, or also called as classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov was the predecessor or the fountainhead, the pioneer of behavioral psychology. Pavlov wanted to see how do people and animals and other creatures learn. So he set up an experiment. He observed that every time he brought food to his dog, the dog started to drool. So he thought, why does this happen? How does this food make my dog drool? Can other things make my dog drool? To answer this question, what he did is he brought another stimulus into the equation. Every time Pavlov presented food to his dog, he rang a bell first. So, to make it simple, in the first stage, Pavlov notices that food causes salivation or drooling. He calls this the unconditioned stimulus, and he calls this as the unconditioned response. Okay, now what he does is that he introduces an unconditioned stimulus, another unconditioned stimulus, which is the ringing of a bell. So what Pavlov does is he rings the bell, presents the food, and notices that the dog salivates. So bell plus food, unconditioned stimulus, salivation, unconditioned response. In the third stage, after doing this for many days, after coupling the ringing of the bell with the presenting of the food, Pavlov realized, he noticed that his mere ringing of the bell, he only rang the bell and the dog began to salivate or drool. And this he called the conditioned stimulus, and he called the salivation the conditioned response. So by using some natural tendencies of the animal, Pavlov was able to create or associate a totally unrelated thing with that kind of response. This is called the classical conditioning, and this becomes your first and the foremost example of learning in animals and humans. This can be used to create attitudes. How is that? Fairly simple. For example, we have seen that in army, when people are being trained to cross many borders, to cross many mountains, to go without food for long, they are made to practice this over and over again over long distances. Especially in the commando training, we see that this sort of training with no food or water for 72 hours is being done with the commandos to make them conditioned to this sort of circumstance. So their reaction or their attitude to getting stranded, or their attitude towards being lost in the field, being lost in the jungle, being caught by the enemy, these all stimuli will have the conditioned response of sticking to their post, of sticking to the orders. So there you have the Pavlovian or the classical conditioning. Second, you have the operant conditioning. This is a sort of conditioning that often is used in schools, in sports training, and practically everywhere. To give you a fair picture of how operant conditioning happens, is that you have this person called Skinner, who makes this experiment called the Skinner's box. What Skinner does is that he creates this sort of box. Okay, he creates this box as an experiment, and in this box he places a rat. He places this rat in the box. He puts a button here. He puts this button here, and from outside there is like a funnel in which there is food. Every time the rat presses this button, this funnel dispenses some food. There is also a second thing. There is a lever here, and every time the rat pulls the lever, this entire box has a grid of electricity, and through this grid, the rat receives an electric shock every time he pulls this lever. What Skinner did and what he observed is that due to this experiment, the rat was trained to push the button to get the food. So he is using the process of reward and punishment to actually train the animal to do certain things. Interestingly, Skinner was also able to train pigeons to play ping pong over a table. How did he do that? He did that through this mechanism of reward and punishment. The bottom line of operant conditioning is that if you reward a particular behavior, you tend to motivate that kind of behavior in a person. If you punish a behavior, then you tend to curtail that sort of behavior in a person. So these two things are often used in attitude formation, whether it is in school, whether it is at home, whether it is in your religious place, or whether it is in the law. The idea of punishment and reward plays a central role in attitude formation. To give you a very easy and straightforward example, what happened when you turn up late to class? Did your teacher scold you? Of course they did when you were in school. Why did they do that? Because they wanted to inculcate an attitude of punctuality in your behavior. And I hope that worked. Finally, the third part of attitude formation is observational learning. Think about your childhood story of the monkeys and the capsular. Do you remember that story? A capsular becomes tired, he sleeps under a tree, monkeys steal his caps, he tries to argue with the monkeys, he tries to tell them, please give me my caps back, but they don't. Finally, he takes the cap off his head, throws it on the ground, and monkeys do the same. How does this relate to attitude formation? It means that often humans also act like monkeys. We do emulate the behavior that we see our role models take up. So for example, in advertisement, you might have seen, for example, you can take the advertisement of an energy drink where a sports celebrity drinks the energy drink and hits a sixer on your TV screen. What sort of behavior does that inculcate in you? What attitude it creates? It creates that energy drink is the secret of energy. And every time you see that product in the market, you want that sort of energy that your favorite sports star has. So here are three methods of attitude formation through learning theory.